So if you've been watching the news, you probably saw that something big just happened in the state of Oregon. A bill was just passed by the Oregon House that changed things up in the real estate industry. This is the first time in the United States that a bill like this was passed, so it's a big deal. This law is called the Oregon House Bill 2550, or the HB 2550 for short. It's also known as the Love Letter Bill. What's up guys, my name is Chance Jackson. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Pacific Northwest, and I create this content to bring value to you in your life to help you win and achieve at all your goals in real estate. If you like content like this, make sure to hit subscribe and smash the like button so I know that it's bringing you value, because without you telling me that, how do I know that you enjoy it? With that said, let's get right into it. If you're new to real estate, you're probably wondering why would they pass a bill about love letters? What the heck is going on? But if you've done a real estate transaction, you probably have an idea of what this is about. So the Oregon House Bill 2550 directs sellers agents to reject communication from buyers to sellers as necessary to help sellers avoid selecting buyers based on a buyer's race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, natural origin, material status, familial status, basically all of the protected classes in fair housing law. So to describe this in layman terms, basically what's been happening is when a buyer agent submits an offer, they've been including these letters that describe who the offer's from. Also, side note, I don't ever call these love letters, I call these cover letters, because we're not like writing an I love you and lovey-dovey kind of stuff. A love letter might say something like, "Dear seller, my name's Jane Doe. Me and my family loved walking through your house. It's warm and cozy and we can really see our family living here. Please think of us, blah, blah, blah. Here's a picture of me and my family," to put a face to the name. So cycling back to the definition of the bill, it's easy to kind of see why this bill was drafted. So the idea and the concern is that there's an implicit bias that could play into a seller reviewing a multitude of offers and seeing somebody that they might relate to and they can envision, and they might select that offer over somebody else, especially if the offers are really close. So it creates a situation where maybe some bias could play in. So this is a pretty controversial topic, and as a buyer's agent, seeing what's going on in our economy today, especially in the housing market, it's hard sometimes to differentiate your offer from someone else's. And there's a lot of people that have the ability to throw in large amounts of money, waive inspections, do appraisal waivers, or whatever else they add to their offer to make it stand out. That's why these kind of letters are so powerful, because it helps put a personality to the letter, and we can imagine why this would bring a lot of value. Now from the seller's point of view, this is also can be a little bit stressful. It takes a topic that would generally be based on a transaction, which is transactional information, which is usually capital, time to close, all those like number material facts, and turns it into an emotional situation. And not everybody wants it to be an emotional situation. Sometimes it's really hard for a seller to sell their house. And so if they have to choose between personality types or people that have families or don't have families, that makes things really, really muddy. And like I had mentioned before, familial status is a protected class. So not everybody wants to have kids. Not everybody wants to have a big family. Not everyone can have a big family. So it's really unfair in a lot of ways. Now I want to kind of get into my opinion, and granted, this is my opinion. I don't want anyone to think that I'm gonna swing one way or the other. Honestly, I'm pretty neutral in this topic, but I think it's important. I think we should talk about it and have an open dialogue. Honestly, I can see both sides of the coin. As a buyer's agent and a seller's agent, I've had people that are pro and against these love letters. As a matter of fact, they've been happening for a long time. Since I became a real estate agent, I was basically groomed to use these love letters, or to suggest these love letters to my buyers. So ultimately, I think if I was to cast my 2 cents in, I think the concept and the idea is great. I think it's really important that we protect those people that could potentially be discriminated against from becoming discriminated. And I think there is an implicit bias, especially after taking sociology in college, that exists. And a lot of us don't realize it, and we're not thinking that way, that we're trying to be biased. But realistically, when you choose somebody's offer because they rubbed you a specific way, over an item like a personality trait or a familial status or whatever you have in common with them, it could be unfair to others. But at the same time, on the other side of the coin, I've noticed since I became a real estate agent that real estate transactions very rarely have the buyers and sellers meet. When I was in school and I was training to become a realtor, I was under the impression that I'd be sitting at this table brokering deals with two parties and we'd be shaking hands and maybe sharing a beer or celebrating together. And that has never been the case. It's maybe once out of like a multitude of transactions that I've closed on have the buyer and seller ever met. And that was still kind of like a weird scenario because just how that all worked. So knowing that that's the way it is, I was surprised when I became a realtor that buyers and sellers didn't normally meet. And so because that's kind of the case, I guess this kind of makes me feel like we're taking away the human nature from the real estate transaction, which if that's the safest way to go about it, then we shall continue on that way. But if people feel like they should be able to meet and shake hands and get to know who's buying their house, that's the way things should be. But at the same time, I understand that there's implicit bias, and really there's like no real like true answer to solve all of this. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm indifferent. Ultimately, the goal is we should protect those that need the protection, and we should defend those that need the defense. And so evening the playing field is probably going to be the best bet. And ultimately, that's why this bill was passed. Now, I've seen a lot of listings in the private remarks say, please don't submit love letters. I've seen that for a long time. So it's been something that's been communicated for a while. I believe the National Association of Realtors, they stand strongly against using love letters, which I think, like I said, is fair. It's a safer way to go. Honestly, I want to know what you think and how you feel about this topic. It's really controversial, but at the same time, we should be talking about this. We should be communicating. With that said, that's the Oregon House Bill 2550. I should also add, this bill doesn't go into effect till January 1st of 2022, so technically you could use them, but honestly, I've X'd them in my real estate transactions and I've used them pretty frequently, so I would just get in the habit of not using them. It's probably for the best. If you're a realtor or if you are a home seller or a recent home buyer and you've used these in the past, leave it in the comments. Talk about how it worked for you, or if it didn't work, or if there's any horror stories, or if there's any wonderful things that happened from it. So I'd love to hear your opinions and just share in the conversation. Anyway, with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Talk to you later. Cheers.